Hey guys, in today's video I played 24 hours straight of hardcore Minecraft. This was extremely hard because if I die at any time, I have to restart the video. I accomplished a bunch in this 24 hours, so stick around to see what I do. Also, this video literally took me 50 hours to make, so if you don't mind, please subscribe, it really helps me out and it means a lot. Join my Discord, link in the description, and yeah, let's get into the video. When I spawn in, I immediately go and grab some wood. I make a crafting table and all the basic tools, and then I kill some animals for food. I grab some stone and even more wood, and begin to build my house. I try to change it up a bit and not just build a square. I add some details, and the house was done. I begin to make a mine, and find my first ever iron, and smelt it, getting my first ever iron pickaxe. I then begin to go mining and find a mine shaft, and in it I find my first ever diamonds. With these I was able to make a diamond pickaxe, and I just continue to mine. In the span of like 10 minutes I find so many more diamonds, which is insane. I grab some more iron, and find a lava pool. So I put some water on it, and grab a bunch of obsidian. When I go back home, I smelt all the iron I gathered, and was able to make full iron armor. Hour 2, I go out and try to find some cows, and when I do, I take them home, and begin to make a pen for them. I then make a small wheat farm just so I can feed the cows, and I breed my first ever animals. I go out exploring and find a desert temple, which has a saddle and some diamond horse armor that I could put on the horse that I found. The horse was very stubborn and kept kicking me off, but finally, he became my friend. He was pretty fast, not the best, but you know, I'll take it. I use my one name tag and name him George with a J. I don't know why, okay? I go on an exploration with George, trying to kill a bunch of cows for leather, and grabbing a bunch of sugarcane. With this, I was able to make my bookshelves and enchantment table, but it still wasn't enough, so I had to go gather some more. I continued to kill some cows on hour 3, and build a second floor on my house. I placed down my enchantment table and all my bookshelves, but it still wasn't enough, and continued to gather some more sugarcane and leather. And finally, I got enough bookshelves to get level 30 enchants. I spent the night killing mobs to get level 30, and somehow got really close to dying, which is kind of sad. But finally, I was able to get to level 30, and I enchanted my pickaxe, but didn't get fortune. So, I grew my cow army even bigger, I went mining, and found some diamonds, but mostly just wanted to gather redstone for experience. I continued to mine on hour 4, and found a spider spawner. So, I dug a big hole around it, and tried to make a XP farm. When I finished the farm, I tried to destroy the torches, but cave spiders spawned and literally almost killed me. They're just so OP. I began to farm XP, and continue to try to get fortune on my pick. Spiders were getting stuck on the roof, but when I tried to fix it, I just got teamed up on and almost died again. Luckily, because I'm such a pro gamer, I was able to get out of it with half a heart. Because of this, I just quit the spider spawner and just got XP during nighttime. And finally, after 30 minutes, I was able to get fortune too. I mined the diamonds I gathered with my silk touch pickaxe, and was able to make a diamond chestplate and leggings. I continued to mine trying to find some more diamonds, and was actually able to. So with these, on hour 5, I crafted all my armor and tools, making me feel pretty safe. I continue to grow my cow army, it's pretty big now. I went out with my horse and found a village, and I just took all their hay bales. I'm so nice. I grabbed some obsidian, and found a good spot in this mountain to build my nether portal, and I go in for the very first time. I began to trade with some piglins, getting some fire resistant potions and ender pearls, and then I went out trying to find a nether fortress. Somehow, when digging through the wall, I just found the fortress. I'm so lucky. I dug through, and I began to kill a bunch of blazes. When I had just a few blaze rods, I went back home. I then tried to get ready for an end fight, enchanting my bow. I almost died here, we're just not going to talk about it. But then I made my eyes, and tried to go find the stronghold. On my way there, I found a desert temple with a god apple in it, which is insane. I continued to go exploring, and got into this pretty close call with a creeper, but I finally dug down and found the stronghold. I looked around for the portal room, and literally immediately found it. I don't know how. And in some chests, I found some ender pearls, which gave me enough to go to the end. I still wasn't completely ready to go, so in hour 6, I dug back up to the surface and went back home. I make a brewing stand and go to the nether to grab some nether wart. I enchant another bow and begin to kill some phantoms for their membrane. I begin to make some potions. And finally, I take my horse out and we go to the end. I begin to destroy the crystals. And begin to kill the dragon. I drink one of my strength potions and begin to do massive damage. Finally, I'm able to kill him. I gather up all the XP, and when I try to get the dragon egg, it disappears. So, well, whatever. I go back home, and on hour 7, I begin to try to enchant my boots with feather falling. Sadly, even with all of my levels, I still couldn't get it, so I just gave up on the idea. So, I just began to gather some wood, and began to make an outline on the roof of my house, making it look much better. I then gather up a bunch of building blocks, and I go back to the ends, and go into the second portal. I then begin to look for an end city. And finally, I find one. I loot the entire place, killing all of the shulkers. But sadly, there was no elytra, so I go back out exploring, trying to find another end city. I finally find one with an end ship. So I immediately go in and grab the elytra. Of course, I loot the entire place, and I use the elytra to fly back home. Hour 8, the cow army was making my game super laggy, so I just killed them all. Yeah, this may make me look very bad, but you know what, just to prove that I'm a good person, I go over to the village and just take 2 villagers captive. Yeah, okay, I guess I'm just a terrible person. It takes me a while to bring them back home, but when we finally reach my base, I put them in a little box and begin to build their villager house. I try to work on my building skills, so for this build, I just try to make it look good and not make it big. Just this first wall took me about 30 minutes to make, which is kind of sad. I continue to build the roof, and on hour 9, I finish off the build. In the end, it looks so good. I would say it's one of my best builds, which is kind of sad. I finish off the interior, adding some beds, and I put the villagers in their home. I went back to the village to try to find George, my horse, but I realized I forgot to put it on a lead, so I just lost him. Yeah, whatever. I began to breed the villagers, and they made a baby. Hour 10, I just try to get a bunch of ores. I find an axolotl, and I just take it. I enchant another pickaxe and finally get Fortune 3. So, I take my Fortune 2 pickaxe and put it on display to remember it. I then grab a bunch of wood and begin to build my storage room. I wanted this build to look exactly like a Minecraft chest, so I made it the exact same height and width. I began to build the walls and had to take a bunch of trips to gather wood because this build was so big. Finally, when I finished the walls, I added the little knob to the front of the chest, and in the end it looked pretty great. Hour 11, I began to make the interior. I gathered up a bunch of wood to make all the chests I needed to fill up my storage room, and it was finished. I then began to make a second floor for the villagers, just so they have a little bit more room to walk around. I began to trade with the villagers, getting my first ever emeralds, and then I spent the next 30 minutes trying to get a mending villager. The villagers were turning into everything but a mending villager. It was so annoying, but finally a villager was trading mending. I was too tired to be happy. I immediately locked its trade and grabbed some wood to get some emeralds. And finally, I got my first ever mending book. I put in all my elytra, and on hour 12, I expanded the villager house even more, making a third floor. I continued to trade with villagers, getting more mending books. And then I began to gather all the materials to make an Enderman farm. And then I went to the end. On hour 13, I began to make the Enderman farm, and got into a pretty close call. Luckily, I'm a pro gamer, come on. I bridged super far away from the end island, and began to build the farm. I began to build the killing chamber, and tried to make an endermite to spawn, which would be the only way the farm would work. I killed endermen for even more ender pearls, and finally, I was able to make an endermite to spawn. I tried to put it in a minecart, but when I was trying to, my thorns killed it, so I didn't know that could happen. Oh well, I tried to get another endermite to spawn, and luckily it spawned soon after. So I named it and put it in a minecart, and when I destroyed the walls, all the endermen just rushed through. And the farm was working. I added just a few finishing touches, just so the endermite doesn't die, and the farm was completely done. I was finally able to have some peace and just kill endermen for like 20 minutes. I was so tired at this point. Oh my god, this was so nice. I go back home and began to trade with villagers to try to upgrade my sword, just to make the farm work a bit better. And finally, on hour 14, I was able to get my god sword. I go back to the farm and just kill a bunch of endermen for XP. I continue to trade with villagers, upgrade my elytra, and just spend the next 20 minutes upgrading all of my armor. I go and grab a bunch of wool and make some beds. I go to the nether and I begin to netherite mine. I finally find my first ever piece of ancient debris, and I just continue to mine. In the end, I was able to get 8 ancient debris, which wasn't that good. So I take some sheep and bring them back home, and on hour 15, I begin to build their pen. I continue to shear some sheep for beds, and I go back to netherite mining. When I go back home, I smelt all of my ancient debris, getting me to 4 netherite ingots. I place it on all of my armor, making me look pretty snazzy. I then go back to the nether fortress and begin to kill wither skeletons for their skulls. Finally, after so long, I was able to get my first one. And for the next 30 minutes, I just kill wither skeletons. After getting my third one, I go back home and brew my potions for the wither fight. I go down to the mine and spawn the wither. I drink all my potions, making this fight super easy, killing this wither in about 20 seconds. Yeah, I make my first ever beacon, and mined for iron for a very long time, trying to get enough for the full beacon. Because of the new 1.17 update, it made gathering iron much easier. In an hour of mining, I got about half a shulker box full. I go back home, and I grab a bunch of materials for my super smelter. I find a good spot and begin to build it. Once it's done, it's super satisfying to smelt stuff. Oh yeah, that turns me on. And with this iron, I was able to make a bunch of blocks. But still not enough, so I spent the next hour or so just mining some more iron. While mining, I find an amethyst geode, which is sick. I continue to get some iron, and just wanted to test out my armor, and yeah, I can't die. After mining, I smelt all of my iron, and I make all my blocks. I try to find the exact middle of my base, and I just dig straight down. I find some diamonds, pretty sick, and I dig the hole for my beacon. I place all my blocks down, and the beacon works. I didn't get the achievement, but whatever. I grab a bunch of flowers for dye, and with this, I make a bunch of colored glass. I go back down to the beacon, and try to make a contraption to change the color of the beacon. Sadly though, when I flicked the lever, it was working, just not color. It was ugly, it's what I'm trying to say, yeah. So I tear it down, and try a different method. And this one was looking much better. Still wasn't perfect, but it looked cool. I then gather up a bunch of wood, and use it to build a house that covers up the super smelter. While the super smelter is cool, it just stands out from my other builds and just ruins the feel of the base. There was a huge mountain in the way, so I had to destroy that. While building the house, I found a group of pillagers and just killed them off. I continue to finish off the house. I begin to build the walls, and try to add some detail to them. And while trying to gather some more resources, I start a raid accidentally, and have to kill them off. I get into a bunch of close calls, but I'm able to kill them, and literally would have died if I didn't have this totem. But after this close call, I was able to kill the Ravager and finish the raid, which shouldn't have been that close, but I'll take it. I then just forget all about it and finish off my house. And then adding all the detail. I had some flowers, and I gotta say, it looks so good. I start breeding my sheep and shearing them, which allowed me to get a bunch of beds. With these, I go back to the nether and continue to netherite mine. In the end, I was able to make all of my netherite ingots and put it on my tools. I smelt a bunch of items and just AFK'd for a bit because I'm exhausted. It's been 21 hours. I gather up all my items and begin to build a circle in the center of the town. I fall through the hole, but luckily I had feather falling boots on, so I didn't die. I continue to dig out my circle. And begin to fill it in. I built an outer ring just so people can walk on, even though it's just me in this world, but you know, whatever. I then go up to this ginormous mountain on my base, and I just begin to dig it all out. On hour 22, I go to the beacon and turn on haste, and just begin to destroy the mountain. Luckily, I noticed my pickaxe almost broke, and I was able to go to the ends to repair it. I go back home and finish off mining the mountain. I finally finished and grabbed some grass blocks to cover the ugly ground. Finally, I finished and it looked like the mountain wasn't even there. I made this area very flat because I wanted this to be a farm. So I placed some water and plant all my potatoes and wheat. I plant all my sugarcane. Finally, the last hour. I place all my melon and pumpkin seeds and finish off the farm. I spend the next 30 minutes just gathering some pumpkins and melons and placing them down. I place some torches down and gather up my glowstone to place in the water to light up the farm. And finally, it was done. I realized I somehow didn't place a roof on my storage room, so I gathered some wood and just finally finished it off. I don't know how that happens. I go back to the nether to kill some ghast for their tears, and I make my end crystals to respawn the dragon. I make some potions for the fight. I look at my base for the last time, and I go off to the ends. I place the end crystals down, and I start the ritual. They slowly spawn all the end crystals on the pillars, and the ender dragon finally spawns. I destroy all the pillars, and finally begin to kill him. And I kill the dragon. Let's go! There we have it. 24 hours, finally done. This video took so long to make, so if you don't mind, please subscribe. It really helps me out and it means a lot. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace!